So what we want to do now is add some functionality to this Create Activity button. And when we click on this, we want to set our selected activity to null, as well as setting our edit mode to true. And what we need to do to achieve that is we're going to need to wrap a handler around these two different functions to set our edit mode and set our selected activity. So what I'm going to do is create a new function and call it handle open create form. That takes no parameters. And what we'll do is we'll say set selected activity and set it to null. And then we'll set our edit mode to true. And then we can pass this function down to our navbar. And let's do that. And we'll just say open create form. And we'll set this equal to handle open create form. And then we just need to create our props interface on our navbar. So let's open up our navbar.tsx. And I'll create an interface called iProps as per normal. And in here we'll set our open create form and set its function signature to return void, and this doesn't take any parameters. So then I'll just need to specify the type of component, and it's a React functional component, and we pass in iProps. And then we can destructure our open create form from this. And then we just need to take this and pass it into our buttons on click handler, and we'll set this equal to open create form. And if we go take a look and we click on create activity, it goes ahead and opens the form. We are missing a couple of buttons here though. It would be nice if we actually had some buttons to be able to submit our form, and also a cancel button so that we can stop the creation of what we're doing here. So I'm just going to go back to the activity form, and just below our inputs I'm just going to create two buttons, and I'll say add a button from semantic UI React, and I'm going to make it floated to the right and make it a positive button, and the type is going to be submit, and the content will be submit. And we'll just need another button below this, and again floated to the right, but just a normal button without any styling, and this one's just going to be a normal button, and the content will be cancel. And if we go take a look and click on the create activity, I can see that my buttons have made it outside of the form, and that's just because we need to add the clearing onto our segments. And if we go back take a look, and that looks more like it. So we've got our create activity, and this clears our selected activity and puts our edit mode state to true. So we also need to turn off the edit mode when we click on that cancel button. And let's just pass that functionality down to our activity form. And in our activity dashboard, we'll need to pass the set edit mode down as a prop to our activity form. And once again, we're going to need to deal with our interface inside here. So I'll add an interface, call it iProps, and we'll add the set edit mode, which again is going to take an edit mode parameter of a boolean, and it's just going to return void. And once again we'll need to specify the react.fc and pass in our iProps, and then we'll use the set edit mode and destructure lem, and we'll just add this to our cancel button, so the second one in this case, and in our onClick handler we'll just add an arrow function and say set edit mode is equal to false, and just reformat. And if we go and test this, we should find that we can now cancel our activity. And what we should find as well is if we click on edit and then we click on cancel, we get taken back to our activity in this case. And while we're here, let's just deal with this particular cancel button. And what we need to do here is set this cancel to, or the selected activity back to null when this one's clicked on, and that will remove our activity details component from the view. So let's head back into VS Code and back to our activity dashboard. And what we need to do in our activity details is pass down the set selected activity function so that we can set the selected activity to null. And we're not actually passing that down from our app component, so let's do that as well. And we'll take our set selected activity and pass this down to our activity dashboard, and go to our activity dashboard and add this as another property in our interface. And once again, this is a function that's going to return void. And what we're going to pass to this is we're going to pass null in this particular case. But I'll call it activity, and we'll set this to either iActivity or null as the type of parameter that this is going to accept, even though we're just using this to set it back to null. And then we'll pass down our set selected activity to our activity details. And we also need to add this to our destructured props. And then and I'll just reformat. And then in our activity details, we need to add this to our interface. And once again, I'll just say activity is either going to be iActivity or it's going to be null. And again, returns void. And I'll say set selected activity, and then just reformat, and inside our button group we'll add our onClick events, and we'll add an arrow function and say set selected activity, and we'll just set it to null in this case, and just reformat, and we should find this little piece of functionality is now working as well. So we can click on our activities and display different activities. We can cancel, we can edit, and we can cancel this, and we can create an activity. And all we need to do now is pass down our selected activity into our form if we're editing an activity. So what we'll look at next is initializing our form with either an empty activity or the activity we're going to edit, and we'll take a look at that next.